snack has played a huge part in my training camp. The protein, the ZMA, everything, the pre-workout, it's played such a major part in my training camp, keeping me healthy, keeping me recovered, keeping me feeling good, strong, and ready for my next workout.
Obviously, looking forward to Saturday night. Fighter, you know very well in Tyson Fury. I saw you imagine you know Deontay Wilder very well as well.
Yeah.
A fight that you've got a lot of interest in, I suppose, as well, having recently called out Tyson Fury. Can I just get your opinions on the fight? How do you think it will go, and your overall predictions?
I think it's a lot closer, the third fight, than everybody seems to be believing. Fury completely and utterly dominated the second fight. He had it all his own way, and exactly what he said he was going to do, he did. So no one can say that's a fluke in any way, shape, or form. No, Wilder, on the other hand, he boxed horribly. He didn't get anything going. His jab, his move, everything was just a bad night at the office. He claims he had shoulder surgery or bicep surgery, I think it was, and that stopped him throwing his right hand. If that is the case, that would definitely contribute to the poor performance. But now apparently it's all rock solid. His shoulder's healthy. He's good to go. So we're going to get ourselves, a good fight. I think Fury's going to continue the same pressure fighting as he brought the second time round. And but this time he doesn't have the element of surprise on Wilder. Wilder's going to be prepared for him to either box or come at him. I'm not sure how well Fury has done in training. Obviously, there was there was rumours that his training weren't going that great, and then the fight got postponed. He got COVID, so the well publicised family issues that obviously would be very, very distracting for any fight in a training camp. So things don't seem to, from the outside looking in, the fact that he's got to Vegas as late as he has, the end of September, in a 3-week training camp in the place you're fighting, isn't ideal. So it doesn't feel that great. I haven't been hearing much positivity coming from Team Fury in the build up to this particular fight, other than it's going to be a walkover. It's going to be an easy fight. I don't even want the fight. I'm only doing the fight for some panel, some courtroom said I have to do it. So here I am doing it. That's not the right, that's not the right way to tackle a fight like this, because Wilder's well and truly up for it. Outside Wilder's last performance, which was terrible, the 40 odd before that were all pretty good. He's a devastating puncher. You have to be on your very, very best game. It doesn't take, it takes him one punch to change the outcome of a fight. So I make this fight significantly closer than everybody else is. I'm trying to ignore the last fight. It's hard to do it. It really is. I'm trying to ignore the last fight they had and look at the first fight. Because if you look at the last fight, it's just going to be Fury all day long. But if Wilder had one arm, if you take away Wilder's right arm, doesn't have that much outside of that. He doesn't have those. That's his main weapon. His main weapon is his right hand down the pipe. He's got so many people out there, and once that's gone, good jab, good hook. Everything else is good, but it's not great. Not like his right hand is great. So if that right hand's back, I think both fighters, this is one of those heavyweight fights where both fighters have the ability to deck the other. They've shown it last time out. They both had 2 fights. Was it four knockdowns? 4 knockdowns between them, both ways. So 2 knockdowns apiece going into fight 3. They could both get decked a couple of times in this fight as well. Fury's shown he can get back up. Wilder's shown he can get back up also. You've got all the ingredients for a great night on BT Sport box office. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are making that of Wilder's technique is not up to the standard of a Fury, of yourself, maybe of a Joshua. He's obviously under.
Yeah, it's got a different technique. Not everybody has to have a traditional boxing style.
Yeah.
Andy Joshua has a very textbook traditional boxing style. That didn't help last time out. Sometimes an awkward though. Derek Chisora, on the other hand, doesn't have a boxing style as in typical Chisora, yet he had a lot more success against Usyk. So it's not about boxing style; it's about how effective is what you do. And what Wilder does is very, very effective. Has been effective. The only time it's not been effective is in his last fight. And if that was because his main weapon wasn't loaded and firing, it makes sense. How about now it is? We're going to get to see what's going on. Massive psychological advantage for Fury if he uses it right. If he just takes it for granted, or if he has taken it for granted that he's just a better fighter and he's just going to find a way to win. That's one way of going about it. But, he could find himself getting buzzed and hurt like he did in the first fight. So it's very, very, I think it's a lot more 50-50 than everybody's saying.
Yeah. Do you think, given Wilder drew the first fight, perhaps it could have gone to Fury, but as you say, the knockdown in the 12th round, and before that as well, it was a draw. The second fight, he was well beaten. Do you think that will play a lot on Wilder's mind? As you say, Fury could use that to his advantage in the fact that perhaps he could have had 2 fights, 2 wins against Wilder already.
He could have used it. It could have been, it could work both ways for Wilder. Maybe Wilder looks at it as though, okay, I only had my left hand and you didn't knock me out. I got stopped. My corner threw the towel in. Yeah. I know I heard him saying that stuff. I'm like, one way of looking at it, but I don't really agree with it. But in his mind, if he justifies it, he's right. Wilder wasn't able to knock him out. So if he thinks, okay, one arm he couldn't knock me out, then when I got 2 arms, I've in my mind, when I snapped my Achilles against Tony Bellew, I remember thinking, okay, Achilles ain't snapped, I'll be fine. It didn't work out for me. So just because, it's all psychological. It's all psychological warfare. Fury is going to be significantly ahead in terms of confidence going into this fight. He's going to have real good momentum from the second fight. But one thing Wilder can do, he's got that equalizer. He's got that one big money punch. No matter what you're doing, look how big King Kong Ortiz, was dominating the fight. He wasn't. He just waited and waited and waited, and then detonated that one right hand and just wiped him out. Dominic Brazil, one shot, wiped out. He just clean jiu-jitsu. The Polish kid, it's so many different. Spilka, same thing. Striking with Spilka, southpaw style, ping, land one shot, over. So Fury doesn't do that often. He breaks you down, he befuddles you, he moves you around, he slows you down, he grinds you down. Wilder, on the other hand, is a one punch specialist. So mix all of that into the pot, and you got a great fight. Both fighters might touch the canvas, but I think this is going to be the best of the 3.
Do you think obviously it was a long layoff because it was originally supposed to be last summer, and it was supposed to be this summer, but then it was obviously pushed back again due to COVID and Tyson's unfortunate issues, family issues. Do you think the break would have helped Tyson or Wilder more?
Wilder, for sure. Definitely Wilder. The break, if he's had the surgery on his bicep or his shoulder, wherever he had, the longer you leave it, the better it heals, the more solid it is, the more training sessions the more confidence you get with it. But it's well documented that Fury isn't the best liver between fights. He goes up and down in weight. Whereas Wilder, I've never seen him looking out of shape personally. He always seems to be year round in tip-top shape. So having 2 fights in 3 years, it's a long time. It's a long time to stay healthy and keep working. But Fury could just start this 3rd fight, and Wilder just has horror story, and Wilder just falls apart. A lot of people have said that to me, but a lot of people thought that Ortiz was going to beat Wilder with the southpaw style, and you got that one punch equalizer. So you can never write someone off who punches as hard as Wilder does.
Yeah, just lastly, David. As I mentioned earlier, you've got a lot of self-interest in this fight, having recently called out Tyson. John Fury's recently said that he'll fight you. I know you obviously take that with a pinch of salt, but where do you stand in terms of? I
like that. The fact that he wants to fight me shows how little the Fury family see me as a threat. They really think, okay, they watched understand, and I completely get it. They watched the last couple of fights against Bellew and thought, I think his time's come and gone. 3 years past that, it's definitely gone. But I did a bit of training, did a little bit of boxing, a little exhibition fight a couple of weeks back, and I felt really good. I felt got the juices flying. Not to the point where I want to get back and start being a full-time boxer again, but if the number one in the division, who the majority of the world believe is Tyson Fury, if I'm going to put my body through it and do it again, it only have to be for something like that. Otherwise, I'm happy with everything else I've done. Everyone else has been beaten. Everyone else, there's no questions after that. And everybody I'd be such a massive underdog. I like the sound of that. It's just like, and I did a whole training camp to fight Tyson Fury, and the fight didn't happen. Go all the way up to it, got cut right before it last sparring session. So he's got that little bit of unfinished business there. That's the one I always wanted. That would have definitely been a better time to fight him, sure. But maybe not. Maybe back then when he was 22, 23, he would have thought to himself, right, fight David Haye, the heavyweight champion. I've got to really step it up. And actually, I wasn't a champion then. That was after I beat, I knocked out. Was it? No, was it? Was it after the Chisora fight?
Chisora was 2012, wasn't it? I think Upton Park. And
then was that 2012? Yeah, 2013. I think it was after. It was after Chisora.
Yeah.
So I think it wasn't for a title. It wasn't a title fight. But I was a big favourite in that fight, and obviously Fury hadn't done anything at that stage in his career. He was an up and comer. He was an up and coming future champ. So it was it gutted that one didn't happen when it happened, but he knew he was the underdog. Whereas this time it's the complete reverse, way worse, way different this time round. If it does, it probably won't. But just letting him know, I know how this boxing game works. Sometimes you need an opponent, and
you're ready.
I know he thinks it's such an easy fight, but the amount of money the fight would make versus in his mind how tough I am, that works. I know why he's as successful as it is, and it isn't just because of his height. It isn't just because his toughness. I know what he does that makes him effective, and no one else has really been able to capitalize on that. But can I? I think I can. I couldn't do 3 years ago when I was in the ring. No, 100%. It's taken 3 years of rejuvenation before I got any confidence whatsoever in doing that. And I didn't have any confidence until I did my thing a couple of weeks back. Then I was like, if I did this, and this, I'll be able to do that, and I'll beat him. But maybe this is a pipe dream. Maybe it's a old retired fighter talking shit. I don't know.
Well, David, I appreciate your time, mate. It's been great to speak to you, and hopefully catch up with you soon.
Yeah, definitely. Catch you there on.